Good morning, guys. So I wanted to make this as authentic as possible. I just got out of bed, body stiff as a board. It's kind of what happens when you train for as long as I have. You have a lot of miles on your body. So I wanted to make a video, as it was also requested for a daily routine, what you should do. And I was thinking it would be kind of cool to do it by time increments. Let's say you only have 5 minutes in a day to do something, 10 minutes, etc. So I have a timer or a stopwatch going on over there, and I'll kind of keep track of that. So we're gonna shoot for like a 5 to 7 minute routine. Let's say you just got out of bed. First thing I would start doing is start reaching up, kind of get all the, my shoulders already popping, kind of get all those little kinks from the night out of your body, and I'm swinging side to side. So my philosophy is you want to get as many light rotations in as possible as your body starts waking up. And I do this same routine or these similar movements before my private lessons. So if I end up at someone's house or I arrive at someone's house and they're warmed up, ready to go, and I'm like, oh man, I'm 10 minutes late, which I might usually am, and I might start doing these rotations things. So. And another way to think about it is you want to think top down or bottom up. That way you kind of hit everything as you go. So reaching up, this kind of hits the whole body. You can even start leaning back a little bit, but you don't want to strain yourself. I start leaning to the side here, and I start rotating my head. You can go all the way around, or you kind of just think of it as two half circles. So I can roll on the bottom and I can roll on the top. So I'm rolling on the bottom, kind of like chin to shoulder, side to side. And I can roll on the top, ear to shoulder, side to side. And you can look side to side too, and that kind of starts getting your spine a little more moving. Start rolling your shoulders too. Both shoulders forward, both shoulders back, one shoulder back, one shoulder forward. And usually here, I'm not trying to like speed my way through things because my body's still cold, but at the same time, your body kind of feels different every single time you wake up. So I might have fallen weird or stepped wrong the other day, and now I need to spend a little more time on a certain body part. So to make a real example, my lower back is a little tight this morning. So I'm gonna start doing kind of these bridges, and you can do them on the ground too. If you had a mat or on the wood floor, they call these a cat-cow. And I'm just trying to like move them around. So I'm twisting side to side just like I was doing on my feet. I can start reaching to the corners too. And this one's good too, so I'm actually going to put my arm flat on the ground and try to touch my shoulder to the ground. And from here I can start flipping my hand up. And this adds a rotation under tension, right? So you can imagine I'm doing this, but now there's a pull going this way, just like I'm doing it on the wall. So you've seen this stretch before. What I like to do, why I like to do it on the ground is I have a little more control to isolate that joint. So I can start flipping my hands up, flipping down, go side to side. And this is kind of like an easy push-up because your body's getting some activation, but you're not trying to strain yourself doing all the push-ups, right? So next thing I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start getting a lunge here. I'm just gonna rotate my front knee. So I'm drawing spirals this way. And what that does is that actually helps rotate my ankles, but I'm also feeling like a lot of strain here or a lot of a stretch in my groin area here in the back leg. And that's gonna help kind of open everything up, open up your hips. Do it on the other side. So we're actually 4 minutes in and I'm already breaking a little sweat. And my body's feeling a little more loose. So that was isolating each one. Now I'm gonna go and start doing both of them at the same time. So you start spreading your hips side to side. You start adding a little twist to that too. So here, if I wanna sprawl into this motion, like point my back knee to the ground, you'll feel even a deeper stretch here. Now, if you want to make it a full body motion, you're going to start arching back a little bit or twisting to the side. And that'll help your balance, kind of help activate things here. Knee down, arch back, twist. Then another thing you can start doing is to work on your hamstrings and start straining out this leg, and you can do stuff like this where I'm kind of just bending, straightening both sides. Now I go down to my ankles, and what I usually do is I actually rock side to side like this, because that's gonna, if you ever twist your ankle, I'm sure you have, your ankle twists like that. And for my private lessons and stuff, I do a lot of throws and getting thrown and getting taken down. So anytime I'm moving around like this and my ankles aren't warmed up, you're gonna hear a lot of pops. So I do that, and you heard my pop there. My toes too, I'm actively pulling my toes into the ground, kind of like grabbing the ground and swinging side to side, and you'll hear a lot of things start opening up. You start rotating your ankles too. That was about a 5-minute routine. Real easy right when you get out of bed, and your body's kind of ready for the day, you know. Because I've been thinking about this a lot. The regular person kind of just does a handful of movements throughout their whole lives. You get out of bed, you stand up, you sit down, you might jog a little bit. If you don't go to the gym, you're not doing any of these compound movements as much. Maybe you reach up for something at the top shelf, or you crouch down for something, and that's pretty much it. So imagine doing that for years. Your body kind of digs those grooves deeper, right? Your movement patterns kind of get cemented in those just common movements. But then what if for one day you're walking and you have to dodge something really quick, and you haven't done that in years, and your body's gonna feel that, and it's not gonna react as quickly as it should. So doing something like that, like a little 5-minute routine every single day, just to get the kinks side of things, it's gonna help out a lot. So now let's move on to a little a more rigorous thing, intermediately rigorous. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna start working on more whole body movements, more compound things. So I can get on the floor here. This is usually what I do. I start twisting my hips side to side. And you'll notice a lot of these patterns, they're opening up my spine. I can even start stepping up like this. And you notice my hands are under tension, I'm holding myself up, but then I'm stepping through and I'm arching my hip back, or I'm arching my back, and I'm driving my hip forward. So there's a lot of things happening here. There's activation of my calf muscles here. I'm arching back, so my lats are getting engaged. As I step through, my core is getting engaged. I step up, now everything here is engaged, and I hip through. This one's a great one. You can start doing. Now if you're, of course, you're training some type of martial arts, if you're in this Patreon, this is where you could start doing your basic strikes. Again, I'm not going really crazy with any sharp twists or anything like that. I usually start with knees. That way I'm not trying to overextend my hamstring, just trying to throw a kick. But the knees will actually get the mechanics down for your kicks without straining your muscles because they're still warming up, right? So you could alternate high knees with some toe touches, because you're gonna eventually throw that kick straight out, right? So I wouldn't have been able to throw that kick 9 minutes ago. So again, we're trying to loosen up our body. And now this thing here, I'm just throwing reverse punches, but I'm going through the mechanics of it, right? I'm not trying to snap that out and back. I'm just letting my body kind of feel how it should feel. And notice how I'm engaging my whole body into it. It's not like my lower body is stagnant and I'm just doing that. I'm really just trying to make big brushes, big strokes with this movement here. As you start getting a little more used to that, add a little footwork to your drills, right? So, and again, this is another spine twisting drill. The reason why I emphasize the spine, especially strengthening the spine, everything's connected to that, right? So if I try to throw a punch, let's say I'm trying to throw a ball, and let's say my spine is locked up here, and it kind of just follows through like that. I'm not getting as much power as I should or as I can. But imagine turning your whole body into a whip, which is a very common analogy, but turning your whole body into your whip requires articulation of the spine at every single point. So my spine curls this way, my spine goes back, my spine goes through, and go all the way through, right? So the more you can articulate that, the better. Body feels ready for combinations, so if you want to start doing your combinations now, feel free. So you have just basic boxing, jab, cross, throw some hooks in there. Hooks are great for your spine as well. Adding some footwork in there too. I like these. I like this combination here: double uppercuts, boom, boom, hooks, hooks. Right. So it's kind of shaking your spine back and forth under control. So here. So at this point, we're about 11, 12 minutes in. You should be pretty loose to start throwing your kicks and stuff. So start throwing your basic kicks. You have front snap kick here. You can throw them in a line. You could walk with them. You could alternate them as well. You can start throwing your roundhouse kicks, snap them back. You can start throwing your side kicks too. You kind of just want to move with it. So right there, my right side kick kind of felt tight on my hips. So when I feel that, I'm just going to start loosening it up again and try it again a little lower. So that felt a little better. And this is kind of a personal process because you are feeling where things are tight, where things need to kind of open up, right? So much better. So right there, I'm getting fixated on this movement because I felt it a little clunky towards the end. So now's the time where you start going into your real practice. We're about 13 minutes in. So now this is where you get to focus on what you want to make better for the day, right? What you want to improve upon for the day. You can't go through your katas and feel the same way, right? So for example, if I went through like a kata that I know, and I'm like, man, that felt kind of clunky, let me just rep that out. And that can take you another half an hour, right? So that's kind of an easy way to tailor your workout and tailor your training routine on a daily basis, because you're always gonna find something that you need to work on and just fixate on that for that day. And that's what kind of makes martial arts really cool, because you're never gonna master everything. It's a never-ending journey, as cliche as that sounds. But as you focus on one thing and get really good at that, the things you didn't focus on for that week or that month kind of goes down as well. So then you're gonna have to chase that again and rebuild that up. And once you do that, the thing that you focus on before kind of goes down again. So if you imagine just like a skill tree in video games or a mental model or something, or a percentage chart, like you're building all these skills up, like 20% kicks. My punches are 40% right now. My elbows are 50%. As you focus on one thing, my elbows are going up to 60%. My kicks are going down to 15, right? So unless you have all day to train and to recover and then wake up and train again and eat and then train again, you're not going to be able to hit all those things in one day, every single day for the rest of your life. So that's kind of the irony of it, but at the same time, that's what keeps you going, because maybe your spinning back kick was amazing last year, now you haven't even done that because you're focusing on, I don't know, ground attack or ground defenses. So again, there's so many things you can just continue learning. It doesn't have to be a chore in the sense that you shouldn't feel like you're falling behind, because it is your own personal journey. And that also tells you that something that you're really good at might be something that someone else isn't as good at, because they're on their own journey. So comparing yourself to others doesn't really make sense either. Just just think about gravitating towards things you enjoy, and then every now and then you could kind of look at things that are kind of it's like eating your vegetables. Maybe I don't enjoy this as much, but I should make sure that's squared away so that I could go back to something I enjoy, right? It's like learning, doing musical scales if you're a musician. Scales are kind of like things you need ingrained in your body, but you always want to do the fun stuff like improvising and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the foundation, the stuff that somebody else feels is boring, but you excel at, those mastered fundamentals are what gonna carry you through, especially in combat, since it is an altercation, right? So maybe that flashy kick isn't going to help you out as much as learning how to sprawl or getting a really good base. And again, you can focus on every single individual aspect for the rest of your life, and that's the cool part about martial arts. Cool. So enjoy. That was like 16 minutes. You can imagine if I wasn't just talking, I would be throwing more punches and kicks or going over something I'm trying to work on, right? Well, that's it for this morning, guys. Hopefully it's a little beneficial. Hopefully it kind of inspires you or spurs you to do something new today or do something physical, right? Especially during this time. People are worried about their health and worried about what's going to happen, but the best thing you can do is just take care of yourself and take care of others around you. And you can only take care of others around you if you have yourself squared away. That means your mental health and your physical health. And that way everything else kind of falls into line. So take care, guys.